Hi, everybody. Welcome to an edition of Yo on the Go Leadership Moments, where we look to upgrade all the vehicles of our lives. Today's special guest is Ron Snyder. He is a systems architect for Cisco, particularly for tactical operations and emergency preparedness. So he's going to be a featured guest at the 2021 IEEE Rising Stars Conference, and we're so excited to have you here, Ron. Thank you for just being part of this series and being able to share your wisdom about how leadership occurs in a disaster environment, disaster recovery. So you think of it, we've had so many disasters these last few years, and there's a lot that goes into putting together your communications on the fly. We've seen just recently up in the North Pacific Northwest that emergency tactical communications had to be set up. How do you go about preparing for such an eventuality and deploying that so that everyone can be saved and protected in these times?
Yeah, tactical operations is such a small and compressed team, that needs to operate and be proficient in some of these austere environments. A little bit about the team tactical operations. What we do is provide emergency communications in austere environments, and we do this as part of corporate social responsibility. So we do this free of charge. We don't charge
Hmm.
any of the requesting agencies for our help that we provide. To give you a really good example of some of the past deployments that we've been on, Hurricane Dorian response, for example, in the Bahamas last year, the main coordination hub was being done in Nassau. My team, our responsibility was the Grand Bahama Island. We have a list of sites where we need to go and provide these emergency communications for, but imagine in this situation, you're flying into an area where there's little to no cell coverage. We don't know where the emergency operations center is. We don't know who are the other operating partners in the non-governmental organizations. We don't have transportation. Where do you get your vehicle? We have a lot of gear that we need to carry around with us when we do these site installs. We don't have a place to stay yet. Where are we going to sleep? We don't know where to eat. Where are the restaurants? In these situations, you need to trust your people. You trust the team that they're able to get most, if not all, of those questions answered. You need to empower the team, instill confidence in their abilities, to get these questions answered, especially in these circumstances. The situation on the ground is very fluid. Being able to quickly adapt and overcome the situation will help the team stay the course for the mission. The needs are constantly changing on the ground. You need to be able to pivot quickly to those needs. If a clinic outside of Freeport in the Bahamas has closed, or you can't get a hold of the point of contacts, or if the situation dictates that they don't need your services anymore, you need to make a quick decision on what the next priority is and revisit, some of these other sites as they come along. You have to be able to reach out and create partnerships. Our team is very small, as I mentioned earlier, and it would take a very long time for us to cover all of GBI's emergency communication needs. Reach out, seek out some of these other resources, other groups. You need to be able to create these partnerships. I think it's important for several reasons. Number one, you provide a quicker response by dividing these tasks up. You're dividing and conquering. You avoid duplication of efforts. You don't want to have to do two different groups coming over and doing the same thing. You also create a good working relationship overall. You're expanding your impact and you're able to help more people in that regard.
So really, I'm hearing that it's a tight team, close knit, that really goes in with a fair amount of versatility in their backpack, so to speak. They have a lot of different skills and uh, are no stranger to adversity and to changing times. But in that, also as part of that communications building process is also communicating and interacting with the local populations as well as the other NGOs and other organizations that are coming in at the same time. And there may be a difference in different organizations coming in and different, footprints depending on which disaster. So it's not so much even a long-standing relationship. It's really aggregating and almost like a mesh network that's
Right.
being developed not only at the technical level, but also at the human level and the communications level. That's a really important, I think, aspect that I never really thought of. Um, so, as you're working these protocols, and how do you bridge those gaps and in communication between the teams and also between disasters? Do you have a network that you regularly poll and talk to throughout the downtime, so to speak?
Yes. So normally you would want to create these relationships prior to when the disaster happens. It's just easier to have those relationships established, creating the partnerships through events not related to an actual disaster.
Mm.
These are actual exercises that you're participating in, conferences. I mean, prime example with the Rising Stars conference, these venues provide building on those bonds, on the partnerships with people like-minded or have the same mission as you. So just finding the right people to build those partnerships with. Normally they would have the same cultural fit as you because they've seen the same things that you've seen in a disaster zone. Having the right skill sets, finding where the gap in your capability is, and finding those group that can fill that capability.
Mm.
So that helps cover a lot of the different areas that is needed in these disaster scenarios.
Well, thank you so much for working in this very fluid environment and being prepared so that when all of us are caught unawares, that there is an infrastructure that comes. So I think that's something just really core to our humanity, is our desire and willingness to help others, to put ourselves in harm's way, and in order for the benefit of others. So thank you for doing that, and thank you for your team for also doing that. I'm curious, and what does it take to be one of these people? I mean, it's similar to the kind of like a fireman, where you're going towards the fire instead of away from it. But what are those characteristics do you look for to fill those gaps in this particular tactical unit?
I touched on a little bit about the skill set. That's going to be a basic requirement to be able to go in and create these critical ad hoc networks that's supporting the first responders and affected population. I think a really key attribute here is passion. You have to be passionate about about doing this particular job. You have to really love what you're doing to be able to sign up for a job like this. The passion that enables you to move into an area where everybody is running away from, passion that enables you to feel the urgency that of having to stand up this network because it's going to serve a good purpose. It's going to speed up the emergency relief operations, getting those critical food supplies and water, getting that in. Having that passion, letting that be the driver for doing what you love, and letting that inspire others to be as passionate as you. Another thing is we gauge if this is something that's we could trust you with. If
Mm.
we're able to go in these austere environments, and me being able to count on you and vice versa to do this very stressful job in the field, and getting it accomplished in such resource constraints environments.
Wow, that sounds really exciting and also really scary at the same point, that you really need to trust your teammate and also trust others that you have never met before as you come together in this mesh network to be able to help and provide for the greater good of humanity. So thank you for this is just really interesting conversation on preparedness and upon the character that's required to meet the needs of those who are experiencing one of the most tragic things in their lives. So thank you, Ron, for this really, really interesting experience. I'm super excited to have interacted with you, and I'm looking forward to interacting with you at the IEEE Rising Stars Conference in January 2nd, 2021. And I'm also super excited that all of you will be able to see Ron and the other featured speakers at this conference. It is a virtual global conference, and so we'll see a diversity of perspectives and also a diversity of participants. So if you're interested, please come and look at the descriptions below and click on the link to register today to the IEEE Rising Stars Conference. Ron, thank you so much for your time, and I appreciate your insight into disaster preparedness and the passion that comes out of who you are and what your purpose is. It just really comes out in this time together. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
So I hope this was helpful for you, and until next time, bye.